Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly. Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Mindful Minute podcast, where we touch on different things, on different areas of life, on how we could go from a nothing place to a something place. Me, Kevin Wayne Joseph, and we are touching on the power of positivity. Help us to understand, Kev, what does the power of positivity do?
Okay, so the power of positivity is something that everything that has life comes out of, right? So I think about it this way. Whenever there's any situation, there is something good, something peaceful, something joyous, it has to stem from a place of positive affirmations or a positive way of thinking, because we think on the higher plane as speakers. We can think on a higher plane. We can see a situation and automatically take the good out of it. We can see the bad, we can see the good and take the good out of it, just to make sure that the people we are speaking to can get that good. And I know a lot of us, we grew up in environments where the circumstances didn't allow us to see the good. You grew up where you may have been a single parent home, could have been abusive, could have been drug infested. Things like that are some people's realities. And it is very difficult for another person to believe in something that's positive. But there are some instances where people have come out of those exact same type of slums, those exact same problems and circumstances, and they have made something very, very extraordinary out of themselves. And that all stems from being positive, all stems from knowing that there is a higher place, there is a higher way of thinking that we all can achieve.
Okay, so for myself, just understanding what the power of positivity does
Mm-hmm.
is I started viewing things that no matter how negative or unpositive the circumstances that we are in, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that we can't blossom. So just understanding that some of the most beautifulest flowers are only grown in the swamp. You can't get these flowers nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But so when we start saying these positive things to ourselves, it doesn't matter what negative circumstances that we're in, the
Mm-hmm.
positive will always overcome. So I believe that the things that we do the most is what will take over.
Exactly. And you know what? There's one thing I used to always read about. Is the saying, it's like whatever side of you that you feed the most, that's the side that's going to grow. That's the side that's going to produce. And with a lot of people, and this is probably 80, 90% of the world, grew up in a negative environment, and not negative to where they can't blossom, and not negative to where it's extreme poverty, but just being around people that don't even think high of themselves, that as soon as you begin to think more of yourselves, they cutting you down. And we don't really put those two together, that your childhood, uh from your childhood all the way up to adulthood, and how we express it to our kids, or we express it to the people around us, how we've been affected, and it's keeping us from being positive in a manner that helps us to attract more people to spread this positivity, right?
So it's crazy how the very same thing that we are is what we tend to attract.
Right.
And
Right.
so when we start becoming negative, I promise you, you are going to attract negativity. The
Mm-hmm.
moment that we start being more positive, I promise you, you're going to start attracting positivity. And that's just what's going to happen. And it don't have to, like you said, you may come from an environment or circumstances where that's not promoted. But the moment that we start saying it to ourselves, the moment that we start doing it for ourselves, people on the outside will notice that and they'll gravitate to us, or positive things that are happening for us in our life that will gravitate to us because
Mm-hmm.
we are choosing to be on the positive side and not on the negative side. So it's us making a conscious decision and saying, I don't care how I was raised or how I was treated, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm going to do. I'm making a choice for my life. And yeah, sometimes what we've been through in life, your parents might not have been so positive, or, you was in a relationship that wasn't positive. You don't have to be that way. And so when we choose to have these positive thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
it will permeate throughout the rest of our life. I believe that.
That's most definitely, because being a positive person is something that it goes across the board. No matter if it's at work, no matter if it's at home, no matter if it's at school, being who you are is something that will come across in every facet of your life. And we know many people that have been negative. They don't even know why they're negative. They don't even know why they say if the sun comes up, it's like, oh, it's going to rain. Or if it gets cloudy, I'm sorry, if it gets cloudy, oh, it's going to rain and I can't go out now, and it's going to get cold and I don't have this, and I don't. We spew those things out because we come from a place, and this is worldwide. We come from a place where it is okay to be negative in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay for you to always talk about your problems, in a matter that things can get better, but they may not get better for you. And that's a huge issue,
Right.
because if you don't believe they can get better for you, it doesn't matter what it get better for anyone else. You are the person that walk in your shoes. And being a positive person, oh man, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes being intentional to become positive. It takes your even wanting to read more, investing in yourself. Most positive people have tons of material already invested in themselves to help them to become that person, because naturally you grew up in an environment where things are just don't work out in your favor, right? How can you tell someone, hey, be positive, it's gonna be, it's gonna shine bright today? And that reminded me of that song. It was a song back in the, I would say before my time, because I wasn't born. But how did the song go? The guy was like, oh man, I'm drawing a blank. I caught it because I was singing it the other day. I was singing it. Okay, I'll come back to it. But it was a song of hope. It was a song of, I understand things are going wrong right now, but the sun will shine in the morning. And if you believe that, but the next morning you wake up literally and everything is always trash, it is hard for you to believe something different. And you talked about it earlier, product of our environments. That is a huge thing. And a lot of times parents don't realize, even if you grew up in an environment, we have that household to be a safe place, to cultivate our kids to be something more. And so one of my things was, like, Saturdays, I get up, I get on Instagram, I get on Facebook, and I post a short video about, don't just lay in the bed all day. Get up, get to moving around, put clothes on. You're a person of purpose, you're a person of power, you have things to do. If you don't do that for yourself and you have young kids, they will just take after you. A lot of us, man, parents, I can attest to this. I don't have kids yet, but I can attest to this. Parents are so proud when their kids achieve something. And I saw a video the other day where this kid, it was his birthday, and he had made the basketball team, went home to tell his dad, told his dad got so excited, he chased him around the house just to hug him, and kiss on him. So imagine you giving your kid the tools to make you proud. How much more, of that inside of you becomes expressive to them, that, hey, on Saturdays, we get up and we get dressed, because we may not have nowhere to go, but mentally, we are people of power. We're people of positivity. We're people that have something to do. We're not just going to lay around and be, sluggish all day long. And that's another topic for another day. But definitely being positive is something that has to be worked on. It has to be worked on.
All right, so how about this? And I like how you said, giving the tools
Mm-hmm.
to other people, maybe our children, our family, and things like that. And I believe that one of the tools that you can easily give somebody is positive self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what I started doing to myself is started saying so many positive things to myself.
Mm-hmm.
That way now it's automatically started off that if I feel like this about me, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how other people feel about me.
Right.
But now by me saying these positive things to me, it's going to now get inside me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm going to be able to express that outwardly
Right.
because I started it first. We can't expect somebody else to pour into us that we're not pouring into ourselves. And so sometimes we be at a deficit with the
Mm-hmm.
positivity and we're expecting somebody to pour positivity into us, but we have to actually put that positivity in us first. That way we can actually give it to somebody else, whether it's our children, whether it's our spouse, it doesn't matter who it is, because you, if you're thirsty, I promise you, you're going to drink that water first.
Yeah.
But if you feel, then
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You ain't going to have no problem giving somebody else a drink. And so if
Right.
you fill yourself up with positive talk first, you're going to be able to tell somebody else, hey, start saying positive things to yourself.
You know what? That reminds me of that analogy where people think if you people will think if you're a candle and your light is already burning, the life of your candle does not get shortened by you lighting other people's candles, right? You giving them other, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
people think if I help someone else, they may get ahead of me. And that is a scarce mindset. We'll talk about that later on. But there's part of scarcity. By you lighting someone else's light, you brighten the whole room. And eventually you brighten everything around you. So you helping someone else out helps you and your world out. Imagine this how deep this thing can go. One day you're driving down the street, right? You're driving down the street. There's this kids on the corner. They're selling waters for their basketball team. You decide to pull over, give them $10 for one water just because you're just overly giving, right? Water bottles are $1, but you're going to give them 10. Hey, take this. That kid can grow up remembering that kind gesture, go to the NBA, make millions of dollars, come back to that same neighborhood that they grew up in, that you blessed them in, and change it, add value to it. But a lot of times we don't think that far. It's just what is in front of us right now. We don't have that foresight to think about, okay, I'm helping, but I'm not just helping that person. I'm helping the world at this point. I'm helping the world at this point because my act of generosity, my act of kindness, that being positive within myself pushes it exudes, not even pushes, it exudes to other people. And now they want to come in and say, you know what? How can I be negative around a positive person like this? That's sharing so much with me, that's pushing out so much for me, and negative people tend to negative people tend to just be negative no matter what the situation is, no matter how good a situation can be. Is always something in the back of their head that's going to lead them to that type of disappointment, and they're always on edge. And I understand because I just had an incident a couple of days ago, was like thinking about the past and how things have happened with money in the past. And it's like, hold up, you think you ready to do this now? You think you really ready to invest in this now? Back then it was the money had been just gone, lost. And now you're trying it again and again, but now I'm a better person. Now I have more knowledge. Now I have more insight on what I am actually doing, and not just trying to throw it in and hopefully I hit something. But yeah, being positive literally transcends each and every level and part of your life.
And here's the thing, so much of us, I like how you said, the people around us,
Hmm.
sometimes people are just negative, and understand, look, math is going to always be math, right? We
Yeah.
know that if you take a positive and put a negative to it, it's
Hmm.
going to create a negative. It creates a
Hmm.
deficit.
Right.
So if you got 10 and
Hmm.
now it's a take away 5, you only got 5 left now.
Right.
And
Right.
so we have to understand, we got to look at the people that are around us, the people that we are constantly talking to.
Hmm.
Are those people negative and we
Hmm.
trying to be positive? Are we trying to just say, hey, oh no, let me constantly uplift you. Let me constantly cheer you up. And I ain't saying there's nothing, it ain't nothing wrong with that. You can do
Hmm.
that, but understand that the negative is going to always become negative with the positive added to it. You need so much positivity in order to overcome the negativity. And it's crazy how I just started thinking, man, it's so hard to just frown, right? Like people don't
Mhm.
understand. You use more muscles in your face to frown than you do to smile.
Right.
And so being negative actually is more work, and positivity is easier.
Right.
But like you said earlier, we're in a society where it's normalized to be negative, and
Mhm.
it's not normal for you to be positive. And I can think of times where I've told people, "Oh, I'm great," when they ask me how my day is going, and they questioned it. Like, "No,
Mhm.
is your day really great?" And then I had to turn around and tell them, "Let me tell you why my day is great. Because not
Right.
only am I alive, but not only do I know my purpose, not only do I know many blessings that I have, I can tell you why you great also. And I
Mhm.
don't even know you, but you have life, you're breathing, you have reasons to have appreciation. That's why you can be great and you can be positive too." And so we have to understand that in order for us to get to that space of using the power of positivity, we have to tap into it and say, it's actually going to be easier for me to be positive
Mhm.
than it's going to be for me to be negative.
You know what? Earlier you was talking about deficits. That made me think about something Les Brown said a long time ago. He said, if someone told you you couldn't do something, it would take 17 yes you cans to just eradicate that one negative. 17 positive to eradicate that one negative. So I think it is very, very critical. Everyone has that type of self-talk. Everyone needs to have that self-talk that validates them. Because most people, I will say most people, I will say a lot of people do not get it from their parents. They don't get that type of validation. They don't get that type of encouragement. And it's not their parents' fault because they grew up and they got that from someone else. They may have had a bad day at work and it was just hard for them to get that off of their minds. So if we in a society where a lot of the positive things are going to have to come from ourselves, they're going to have to come from ourselves. And oh, can you imagine this? This is one of the problems I have with social media. On the subject of positivity, this is one of the problems I have. People, how do I put this? Because people expect you to be bad or down, it's okay for you to express that.
Mm.
So, prime example, COVID-19. Everybody didn't lose their job. Everybody didn't lose family members, even though people did. Everybody did not have a bad year. But because the great majority expressed their disdain for 2020, the moment you say it was a good year for me, you get torn down. You get torn down because no, nobody had a good year. And that's not true because I'm in 2020, right? I didn't like anything. Um, I didn't like anything. I actually got promotions. I actually made more money. And so that's a great majority, I ain't gonna say majority. That's a lot of people's story. And on the other hand, you have people that have lost their jobs, but they didn't give up. They did not give up. They move on to the next thing and now they're flourishing. A lot of times positivity keeps you going. It keeps you looking for more opportunities because no matter what happens in this world, there will always be opportunities for advancement. Always. It cannot This world will not exist without opportunities for advancement at all times because that's the type of people we are. As human beings, we have the power to create, we have the power to push forward, we have the power to innovate. The whole world goes to crap and now everybody is thinking I will not say that. The whole world has a problem, but it's only a problem the way you look at it, right?
Right.
COVID-19, a lot of people passed away. That is a problem. A lot of people did pass away. I think about Carl Anthony Towns. He said he lost 6 family members to COVID. My heart goes out to him because that's not easy. 6 family members within a couple months, because COVID was this year. We're still in 2020. Within a couple months, that is not easy. And on the other hand, what looks like he met the love of his life in Jordan Woods. So it's like, what perspective will you take? A positive person will always say, okay, look, 2020 was not the business, but there's hope for the future. There's hope that we can do more now. How do we take this situation now and grow from it?
So let
So what
me
do you
ask you
think?
this question.
Yeah.
How do you switch gears? Like, how do a person actually switch the gears from saying, all right, I'm tired of being pessimistic, I want to be optimistic? That ain't easy. How do I switch gears?
First thing is you have to make a decision to be optimistic. Making a decision is the first thing of in anything. You get an idea is just going to remain idea until you make a decision to put that thing into action. So the first thing you have to do is make a decision that I'm going to be optimistic. Make a decision that you will change your life and change the things around you. For the most part, being product of our environments, the things we eat, the things we see on television, the things we listen to, if we just change a little bit of that, if we just start investing in ourselves by reading books, going to seminars, being around positive people, learning new languages even, can help you switch from being pessimistic to optimistic, because pessimism stems out of lack. Nothing's getting better. It stems out of lack. It stems out of things just staying the same. But when you're optimistic, it comes out of encouragement. It comes out of achievement. It comes out of growth, right? And so a lot of people don't realize, I may not be in the best situation right now, but as long as I keep pressing forward, as long as I try to do something new, as long as I keep achieving and acknowledging my achievements, positivity just flows. Positivity just flows in. Growth just flows in. Optimism flows in, because now you have something to build off of. 2020 was a bad year, but look, I got a promotion. What's coming up next? 2020 was a bad year, but look, I started my coaching program. Who can I help next? You start building on that, dude, you skyrocket. Like your conviction for being positive skyrockets. Like, people have bad situations, but it's the way we look at them. Some people have terrible situations, but we can always change. We can always grow out of it. And then that story can lead you to a invincible story. Imagine you coming out of a real rugged environment. And I mean, just terrible. Anything you can think of that goes wrong, goes wrong. And you make it out of that. You make it out. You know how many people you can inspire when they hear your story? That's why we need people to be positive, because that is how you switch those gears.
Yo, listen, when you said pessimism
Mm-hmm.
comes from a deficit,
Mm-hmm.
so optimism comes from being at a place where you're not in lack.
Right.
How do a person take that and now flip it? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to say, man, I can do X, Y, and Z because ain't nothing going wrong. Things are
Right.
going good. It's easy to be
Right.
positive when ain't nothing going wrong.
Right.
But when things are not going good and you want to make that switch, right? You have to consciously make that decision to
Mm-hmm.
say how you going to evaluate the situation,
Mm-hmm.
because it's now a choice.
Yep.
So a loss that you might have taken today
Mm-hmm.
could be the very same motivation and strength that you needed so you could get a win tomorrow.
Man, I had a I had a great friend named Mr. Mindful Minute that told me something like that a couple minutes ago. I remember. So yeah, man, it's that the loss you take today may be what you need for that win tomorrow. Because I heard who is it? Bill Gates, not Bill Gates, I'm sorry, Steve Jobs. He said you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. Looking back, taking time to reevaluate to look over your life. I had to go through these problems just so I can get to this moment. Some people had to have a COVID experience so that they can start working out again. Some people had to get in the COVID experience so they can start their business. You know how we don't like our jobs, but it's paying us. We need the money, but you don't like your job. But you get in the COVID experience and like, okay, the job ain't there. So, or you're making less and you need to make more. So it's like, you know what? I need to go ahead and start that business. Boom. Business took off six figures a year. Then took off
Yeah.
7 figures a year. Now it's 8, 10. It has no limit on how far you can take it. So what you said is man, that an inch wide, miles deep. Miles deep.
Ooh,
An
I
inch
love
wide,
it.
miles deep.
I love it. I love it. All right. So just let me, ask this one last question.
Mhm.
When did you actually take that step and actually say, this is what I'm going to do to flip the switch?
I never forget it. I was in high school. I was in 11th grade and went to church. This a new church we went to. My mom had joined this new church, and you know how parents join new church. And I don't want to go to that church. I want to go to my own church. Tell you no lie. The word exactly this. It is illegal to worry in the kingdom of God. When I heard that, negativity went out the window because I'm like, oh, really? So everything that I have trouble with, I can just trust you and you're going to take care of it. That's how I felt. I no lie, I was 16 years old. That's exactly how I felt. And I took it literally because I took all the pressure off of me, put it on the Most High, put it on a higher power, right? And that changed everything because now you get into a moment like, oh, well, this is due. I don't have to worry about it. I just have to do the things that I'm supposed to do. I don't have to worry about, oh, you know what? You have this tuition bill coming up, but I don't have to worry about that. I know it's coming up. I don't have to be frantic. I just have to do what I need to do and let the rest take care of itself. A lot of times people, because they don't have control over situations, they will keep a negative mindset. This ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work because they don't have the answers. But the moment I allowed hope to come into my heart, it's been positive ever since then. It's been, and I'll give you a prime example. I got married March 8th this year, right? We didn't pay the venue off until March 6th of this year. So when you're talking about, oh, I need the money 90 days in advance, and you're not having anything at all, and having that type of worry, oh, it ain't gonna happen, man. I don't see it happening. I never had that. Vic, I never had that. You know what I was doing when the money wasn't there? I was in my own mind seeing what it would be like when I get there. Seeing what it would be like, and that is exactly what happened. And I have footage on my Instagram. You can see me partying. You can see me partying.
So what you're saying is one of the things that you did to flip the switch is you start envisioning the positive thing that you wanted to become a manifestation. So the same way we speak things into existence is the very same way we think things into existence. Wow, that is beautiful.
Yes,
that is definitely beautiful. Yes. And congrats on the on the wedding.
Thank you. Thank you. And that is a principle. It doesn't matter if it's for a positive situation or a negative situation. And because of most of our upbringings, we have been more developed in negativity. So when we speak negative things and they happen, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen because this is how it always happens. But when you start to switch it, it takes time. That's why I said it takes work. When you start to switch it, you start speaking positive, but negative things keep happening. That is because we're more developed in the negative side. But you keep turning away. You keep pushing. The next thing you know, everything you think positive can come to you. You will be put in positions at every level, and you will meet people, i.e. you, that'll keep you going, that'll help you to keep pushing. That'll give you the blueprint on certain things that you have been lacking on. And I'm very grateful because I would not be in this position had I'd have been negative and been like, when the first time you send me a message, like, hey man, let's collab, I'd have been like, I ain't doing no collaborations. Now, instead, how we flip that thing. Oh yeah, man, I want to do something Monday. Let's link up. Boom. And look where we at now. And just imagine 2-3 years from now, it is no limit to how high we can take this thing. And it's all because there was hope and positivity in my heart gave me hope for a better future, for a better life, we even have a friendship now. I never physically met you, but when I see you, what up? What up? So it's being positive. It has to become part of your lifestyle. It has to become who you are as a person. Things you can do, start reading books that gives you insight, books that give you belief, books that teach you understanding. Because the principal thing above all things you should get is wisdom. It allows you to operate in situations to come out on the best side. A lot of people lack wisdom, and because they don't have that wisdom, they don't apply principles. They tend to get just what life gives them. And the crazy thing is, life don't always give you the lemonade. It don't always give you lemons. Sometimes them lemons have mold on them. You got to toss them away. Keep on digging, because you will find that gold. You will find it.
And so when I asked you, what was that pivotal moment for you? And and you told us, it just made me think about the time when I had that pivotal moment, right? And it wasn't at 16 like it was for you, right? I only see my dad, I can literally remember only seeing my dad 5 times in my life between childhood and adulthood. And so it still wasn't there for me. It literally did not come. The switch didn't turn on for me until I went through a bad divorce in my previous marriage. And I was able to say, okay, what am I going to do to come out of this negative place that I'm in? I consciously made a decision. And so I started doing the steps that I needed to do. I started saying the things that I needed to say to myself. I started viewing things in a way that I didn't before. I said, man, this actually showed me that I had more strength within me that I thought that I never had.
Yes.
And so from that negative situation that I was in, created a more positive viewpoint. And no, it is not easy, but if we take those steps, if we do the work, whatever that work may be for us.
Yes.
But if we do the work, and sometimes the work is just changing our mindset, changing our views towards problems themselves, because you do not gain wisdom when everything is going easy. When you get everything right, you do not get no wisdom from that. You get the wisdom from, oh man, I messed up. Let me see how I can fix it.
Yes.
It forces you to actually now, like you said, reevaluate and go back to the drawing board. Something ain't working. But when everything is going right for you, that don't help you to say, let me see how I can do it on the better side. Because I promise you, if you look at it as, man, I'm going through life and all I'm used to doing is carrying a light load like cotton. Yeah. So now when you get to a body of water, which is anxieties of life, and they soak up that cotton and it get heavy, it's going to weigh you down. You can't just take it off. I promise you, you're going to drown.
Right.
But when you used to taking on problems like sugar, right? And it's heavy. And now when you get to the anxieties of life, that water, listen, the sugar is going to dissolve. And you're going to be able to walk through that water, and you're going to be cool. You're going to be able to walk out of that situation and be like, man, I was actually preparing, because I already seen that if I start looking at things from a different perspective, then it's going to actually benefit me. So we can't say I'm going to always take the road to least resistance, because resistance is actually what strengthens us. Yeah. Is when we don't get any resistance, we don't get any pushback, we don't get any stronger.
And we don't get results. Yeah. Positive people make positive things.
Absolutely. And so, Kev, look, again, I just want to thank you for continually showing up, helping people. I appreciate you joining with the collab, man. Like, listen, I got nothing but love for you, good brother. So, when that time comes, we gonna be what up when I see you in person. I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all love. Right. You already know it.
Right.
You definitely already know it.
You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control of how you feel. So control your feelings.